What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 8 of the End of the Bench Show. Joined again by Tyler Cassidy. Cass, what's going on, man?
2 out of 8. Pretty good percentage going on right here. 25%, as I was told. I don't know 1 out of 7 is, though, but 2 out of 8, I'm pretty proud of it.
You're not quite in the Hall of Fame yet. You'll have to get on again before episode 10.
I need that 300 batting average.
To be honest, right now you're not slated to make it into episode 10, so I don't know. This may be a rough career for you, man. 2 out of 10 would be good.
Like I don't have any power stats, so like I'm looking at like a weak OPS and all that stuff. So I need the batting average to carry me through.
You're really gonna have to like depend on a Cal Ripken consecutive game streak here.
Perfect.
To get up to your average.
As long as I don't get the corona, I'm playing. So let's keep him moving at this point.
I mean, to be fair, you need to be home to do this podcast. So if you got corona, I do expect you to play through it.
That's true. And you're a tough manager, but you're fair. So if I have to play through it, sure, skip.
That's right. So yeah, today, me and Pat talked about this a little last night on episode 7. ESPN is having the fans vote for a classic Derek Jeter game to air on May 12th at 7 o'clock. So I texted you because this is something that we would talk about regardless. And
absolutely.
By we talk about it, I'd probably send you 12 text messages. You would see one and be like, yep, I agree. That would be Perfect. The conversation. Because that's how they usually go with us. But I realize, you do see my texts. You just choose not to answer them.
All right, let's make one thing clear to everyone who's listening at home. Tyler Cassidy via text is not the same as Tyler Cassidy via pod. So, via text, I'm like, let's just make it go away. It's kind of like an STD, let it go
Thanks,
away.
Buddy. Thanks, man.
But, via conversation, I'm like, I'm going to talk my way in and out of this about 45 to 50 different times. So, you got a different animal going here. We'll have this conversation via text, but, we're not, it wouldn't be the same conversation right now. I'd be agreeing with you via text, and, here, there's a 25 to 30% chance I'm good.
I don't know. I just feel like you called me an STD, and I kind of just want to get moving on to this.
Hey, listen.
Beyond the NCs, who's to say? So anyway, let's run through these 5 options the fans have to vote for. The first one, I guess they're in chronological order, so we'll go with the Jeffrey Mayer game is the first option. I think that's the game, I told Pat, this is the game that people may not remember just by saying it. So I'll just read the little description. The Yankees are trailing the Orioles 4-3 in game 1 of the 96 ALCS when Jeter's 8th inning fly ball is snagged by a 12-year-old fan named Jeffrey Meyer, seemingly before it could land for an out in the right fielder's glove. Instead, Jeter is credited with the game-tying home run. The Yankees go on to win extra innings. Jeter's Rookie of the Year. Yankees win the 96 World Series. So, great. That's the game. And we'll just get right into this, Cass. Actually, no. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
No. I think, do you want to break every game down, or do you want to do every one and then go for it?
We'll just break it down. So, I
know you have different opinion here than I do right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't this game is the least likely I am to vote for. I don't want to see this game out of the other four. It's the last one I'd want to see.
See, I disagree strongly. So 96, you got to put it in perspective. 96, the Yankees haven't won the World Series since 78. So we're looking at a 17-year time period, which I know for some fans is nothing, but the Yankees are talking about a 18-year period of not winning a World Series. 96, we're not guaranteed to win a World Series. We've compared the 96 team to the 17 team. It's a really good team, but it kind of came out of nowhere. This Jeter home run is in ALCS game 1. So, and it's 4-3, and I think it's the 7th inning, right? 6th or 7th? 8th.
The 8th. So, thank you for listening. It's a good show.
And the Yankees are on precipice of going down 1-0 at home. This home run to me is one of, we're going to talk about some regular season games coming up. This, while it's not a Derek Jeter moment, this moment in the course of Yankee history is one of the most important, in my opinion. Because without this home run, you don't launch it forward.
I agree that it like from a Yankee perspective, it's very important. And yeah, it's like the first. I don't know if it's the first. It's definitely one of the first like clutch moments Jeter had in his career. So it's great. But like in terms of like it's a clutch home run, and there's another clutch home run that is more appealing to me on this list
Agreed.
than the Jeffrey Mayer game.
So and I think we should get this out of the way real quick. Are you judging these based on like the Yankees winning? Are you judging these based on like Derek Jeter doing something special? Because I think that changes things a lot based on like what's going on. So like, what would you say you're doing?
I know which one I would vote for, so I guess
No,
I am looking at it more for the moment that Jeter had as opposed to the moment the Yankees had.
Okay. So
So
you, and like, and I'm not saying like, obviously like I remember some of the things that we're going to be talking about and I don't, but you would say a regular season moment here, you would rank in front of like this playoff moment, even though the playoff moment is clearly more influential than the regular season.
I would put there are two regular season moments I would put ahead of this one, but then because I mean, we'll just get into it. Like there's three regular season moments on this list and two playoff ones. This is one of the playoff ones, and there's only one regular season moment that I wouldn't put above this one.
Fair. I mean,
Just
listen,
from a Jeter perspective, like you're 100% right. If I was looking at this from a Yankee like historian perspective, this would probably be my number one going off these five like options that we have. But for me, just not for Jeter. But I know it's an important moment.
Well, it's also a weird time for us because like this is one of those moments we don't remember. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't remember because we're 3 years old, and like I think it's like one of those things like if we were alive at the time and we were 18 years without a championship, we'd be like we might think of it a little differently. But you're right. I don't know. This isn't Derek Jeter doing something special. Derek Jeter hit a long fly ball to right field, and Tony Tarasco is livid with the umpire. Like some of the stuff, the video here is some of the coolest shit you've ever seen in your life about a home run because Tony Tarasco is screaming at, and my favorite part is Armando Benitez runs out to right field and is arguing with the umpire. And it's like, dude, like if you're the umpire, like have some balls to either eject somebody or like call it a homer, but you can't have the balls to call it a homer and not have the balls to eject someone in the same breath. It's like tough look for you, dude.
It's tough. I mean, it's funny. Like you think if there was a replay at the time, like
absolutely,
maybe like the dynasty never even happens.
That's what I'm saying. So in my opinion, that 96 home run, like I weigh it differently because I'm doing Yankee history. Like that is when Jeter's coming on the scene, the Yankees are coming on the scene, and maybe we don't have these next moments mean as much if that home run doesn't happen. Listen, it's all bullshit because that's game one of the ALCS. So like, what to say the Yankees don't win the next 4 games? Like the Yankees could have lost game 1 and then won the next 4, and we would have like nothing would have changed. But like in the same breath, I'm like, you got to think of it in a kind of a negative way sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like for me, like from Jeter, it didn't win the game. Like it tied the game. So like I think if it won the game, it'd be a little closer for me. But let's go to number 2 because this is the other postseason memory, and it's when he becomes Mr. November.
Yep.
You say those 2 words, everyone knows the event that happened. Flair for the dramatics was Jeter's whole career, and he definitely lived up to that hype on October 31st, 2001 against Diamondbacks.
November 1st, technically, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was November 1st when he hit the home run, but I'm sure he had a great game before that, too, in October.
Yeah. I know. It's, for me, this is going to be, so for me, I'm going to be ranking them based on influential Yankee moments. And this would be number 1, where number 2 isn't listed, which we'll talk about later. But this moment, I mean, let's put it in some perspective. It's 2001. We're 2 months after 9/11. We are talking about, the Yankees are down 2-1, I believe, at this time. I believe it's game 4, or is it game 5? I believe it's game 4.
It's game 4, but it doesn't say the score.
Well, the answer's tied.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah, It was a tie game.
God, I had a long day at work, bro. Right? Like this is gonna be a trip.
I got you. So Jeter's hitting a walk-off homer in New York, borderline New York City, right after 9/11. When the only reason, and this is what I mean, not cool, but they're only played in November because of September 11th. We had to postpone the season for a week. The only reason November 1st is happening. So once November 1st hit, it joins it goes right into your consciousness, right? You're going, the only reason we're playing a November 1st game right here, like if your kids are asking at the time or whatever, is because of 9/11. We had to delay the season for a week. Yeah. And then he hits, and my favorite thing is, he hits an opposite field first row homer, which is Jeter-esque to every tee. It's not flashy. It's not 20 rows back. It's a little jam shot, and Reggie Sanders is running back. And, one of my other favorite parts is nobody can get to the fucking ball because they have those old Yankee Stadium, guardrails up, and everybody's trying to get after the ball. And, it hits, the guardrail, and everybody's trying to get after it. I mean, for New York City, for the Yankees, it's one of, the only thing that could be better is the Yankees win that World Series. To me, it's just the greatest moment of Derek Jeter's career. He does it pretty early in his career, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. This is a tricky one for me because I was not lucky enough to stay up for the whole game. So I never saw this moment live. Like the rest of them, aside from number 4, I saw live. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't see Jeffrey Mayer game either, but I've only seen the highlight of it, and I really would love to watch this game in full and get the full just the full emotion of it, Michael K's call of it. I've heard a million times. It literally gives me goosebumps. To me, this gave Jeter one of his many nicknames, so it's clearly it clearly belongs on this list. It's one of my favorite Jeter moments of all time, anyway. And I mean, it just sucks because we didn't win the World Series.
No. So
a lot of people forget that part of it. We didn't do anything after this.
Not to give false I agree. That's kind of shitty that if we had won that World Series, it's the greatest World Series maybe of all time, but we lose it and maybe we're just a little Northeast biased and therefore not to give it a little false advertising, but MLB Network's been showing a lot of shit because they have nothing to show. Hey, I don't know if you've heard, there's a quarantine going on, but whatever. So they've been showing some stuff. So they showed the Jeter home run in greatest games recently, and I was watching it, and it's and especially because to put it in context, the night before is the night that Tino hits the homer to tie the game, and then that night, Game 4, is the night that Brocious hits a home run to tie it in the 9th inning. So you just have some of the coolest things in MLB history. The MLB Network rated this 9 and 8 in MLB history games. You have some of the cooler things happening ever. So the Jeter home run, it's quintessential that it's Jeter that does it. Like I said, I love that it's a little slap job the other way, and he's first rail out of here. And
it's Yankee Stadium homer.
The coolest fucking thing about it all is the guy who has the Mr. November banner randomly in the stands where he unrails it. And it's dude, listen, you're a loser 99.9% of your life, but in that moment, you're the coolest human being in the stadium.
Dude, what do you imagine? He's sitting. The dude is probably sitting at his dining room table, making the poster. His mom is probably his mom or his wife is like next to him, and he's like,
"Oh, you're right. Good call,
sweetie. You're never gonna need this." Yeah,
it's definitely his mom that's sitting next to him, because there's no way that guy's married and is making a Mr. November sign just in case. Like, he's like, oh, if the game happens to go 14 innings, I have a sign ready. No, that guy has no life, no potential, but in a moment, he looks like the smartest guy in the
That dude's wife may not even let him stay for 14 innings, so.
I mean, let's be honest. Is there a difference between his wife and his mom at that point? Because
Not really.
I think they're the same person, and I'm going to make that clear on record for this pod.
But it's still, like, it's pretty crazy how, like, things like that happen.
I agree. It's one of the – I mean, I think the sign solidifies it. I don't think they come up with a nickname unless the sign that says Mr. November is being like unveiled. So
No,
like,
I think they do because it's not really like a creative nickname.
you're right, but do you think they come up with it in that second, or do you think it's the back page the next?
I think. I mean, what's the difference between that second and the back page? Like, if in a few hours.
You just
I don't think
referenced the Michael
Jeter.
K.
But I don't think Kay called him Mr. November in the call.
Yeah, no, he does. He goes, he is Mr. November.
Yeah, but do you think he said that because he saw the sign?
I don't know. That's one of the great unknowns in life, Scott.
We would have to watch it.
Michael K on your pod anytime soon. That'd be great.
we would have to watch it because I think Kay only did the call because I think he was still on radio. So
that
like
is him and Sterling were on radio.
Yeah, because maybe he had like a teleprompter on it and they saw the sign, but I don't know. I mean, regardless, it's an amazing moment. Definitely belongs on this list. Let's go to number 3, which is the dive. I think this is
the Red Sox game.
Yeah, I think this is like a pretty controversial entry onto the list because
I'm gonna flip. But go ahead.
Because people and like kind of myself included, like
no,
he didn't
Scott,
dive, he ran. He lost his momentum and he ran.
Fuck.
And he fell into the stand.
Still.
It's not a dive into the stands to catch the ball.
Still okay, all right, here we go.
I'm just saying, no, before you flip out on me, I'm just saying it was a great defensive play, but to classify it as he dove into the stands to catch the ball, because when you say he dove into the stands, you automatically think he had to do it to catch the ball. He really dove into the stands because he ran out of real estate because of his momentum.
Because there was no choice in the matter. He takes 2.5 steps. I've watched this replay a million times. My dad and brother, which you all listen to the last pod, obviously, my dad and brother are diehard Red Sox fans, so they're always like, oh, Jeter took 3 steps and dove into the thing. No, Jeter took 1.5 to 2, and because of his momentum, has to dive into the stands. Like, there was no opportunity for this guy to stop, and that's what people have to understand. So even if you're saying, yeah, you're right, he didn't technically have to dive into the stand for the ball, but because when he's catching that ball, he understands the ramifications of what's going on. And I will say, this moment for me is number 4 in my number 5s if I'm doing Jeter moments. So I'm not even trying to like defend it too much, but for anyone in the world who has to say that Derek Jeter did not have to go into the stands or this moment's been misconstrued, I just disagree because he catches this ball in foul territory, and we've both been to the old stadium and the new stadium. There's not a whole lot of fucking room in foul territory.
No, there's not. And I mean, like, we're kind of saying the same thing. Like, we both think it's a great play regardless.
You don't like the way it's been referred to.
Yeah. And I also think, like, this moment would be cooler to me and, like, more meaningful if it was a little earlier in his career. Like, by 2004, I knew what Jeter was about. I knew he would do anything to win. So, like, when I see him dive into the stands in 2004, I'm like, yeah, that's G. But if I were to see this in, like, 96 and 98, I'd be like, yo, fuck, Jeter's the fucking man.
But isn't that cooler that, like, even when he was established, he was still, like, this is a July 1st game in 2004. He's still willing to dive into the stands without any repercussion for his body. Like I think it's cooler.
It is.
Like, we all know who he is, but in the same breath, he's willing to continue. Like, he's not doing it anymore to be like, hey, I need to show who I am. Like, he's like, I'm Derek Jeter, but this is who I am through and through.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing we're kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, to me, if he were to do it earlier, if it was to just so happen earlier in his career, and you, like, see him, like, all bloodied up, and he would kind of have, like, that's right, like, I'm that fucking dude mentality when he gets up. But, like, in 2004, like, you already knew Jeter was that dude.
Agreed.
Like, he's staying true to himself, which is great, and I love he puts his body on the line, every single day he stepped out on the field. But in terms of, like, shaping Jeter as a player, I think if this was earlier, it would be much, like, I would appreciate it a lot more if it was earlier in his career, I guess, in terms of this list.
I don't think you're wrong. It's just about perspective, where I'm saying – we're both saying the same thing, but I'm saying I liked it more because he was like, I'm Jeter. I don't need to build who I am anymore. I'm fucking Derek Jeter. I'm diving into the stands regardless. And you're saying, I already know who you are. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to keep diving into the stands.
I expected it from you. I expected it from him at that point.
You're saying like it's like when Kobe at the end was like, yeah, I'm Kobe. Yeah, we know where you're willing to do whatever it is for basketball, but like you're no longer shaping your legacy. You're just continuing who you are.
And I think like the next part of it is that didn't he play the next day?
No, I think he had to miss like 2 or 3 games because he tried to play the next day. I think it's a legend.
See, yeah. So to me,
doing it in Torrey's office.
I don't know why I thought he played the next day. But
because
to me, like that would have been bigger than the dive. Like if he were to dive into the stands and play the next day with all the shit that happened to him, like that'd be bigger to me than the actual play.
I think the legend is that he went into Torrey's office and said, "I'm ready to play," and Torrey was like, "Dude, you still have a black eye. Like you can't play tomorrow." So, but the cooler thing about that game is also we don't think about it as much now, but Nomar was Jeter's contemporary. They were pretty much the same player through and through. Nomar in that game was sitting on the bench the entire game. While it's a July 1st game, the juxtaposition, fucking don't know what that means, guys, by the way. The juxtaposition of Jeter diving into the stands and then Nomar sitting on the bench was just so apparent. I think it led to Nomar being traded later that year because they were just so – you could tell in that moment Jeter had a different DNA than Nomar.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I was listening to the Michael Kay show today, and they were talking about this list, and he actually said, which I don't fully remember, he said this is one of the best regular season games he's ever called.
So I was just watching it the other day. So the Yankees are down one, like the Yankees, whatever, goes through the 9th inning. Remember A-Rod turns that double play that he thinks is a triple play? That's a whole shit show.
Yeah, well, I know that like they win in 13 innings. I just didn't remember that.
In the 9th inning, or the 10th, or maybe like the 12th inning, whenever they're like losing, they go down like 4-3, and then Ruben Sierra with 2 outs hits a single. Miguel Cairo hits a double to tie the game, and then Flaherty hits the walk-off hit. So the Yankees were actually losing in the 13th inning. I was just rewatching that the other day, and it was like, like the Yankees were down to their last out, and Ruben Sierra like bounced one through the middle. So pretty cool. I mean, hey, I don't remember it. Like you don't remember, I don't remember it. Like we were 11, so but it seems like it ended up actually being a really cool game.
I don't even remember this lineup that they threw out. Oh my god, I'm on Baseball Reference right now.
Wait. Brad Halsey pitched, right?
Yeah, he started.
Yeah. He just rest in peace. He just killed himself, I think.
That's sad.
I know. He pitched against Pedro.
That's not good. Why are you telling me that? That's not good.
Rough pot. But
dude, totally. Okay, do you want to try to name this lineup real quick?
Okay, so playing catcher with Posada.
Yeah.
First base in 04, first base Tony Clark.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. Before just the starting, because there's a ton of subs in this game.
Yeah. So second base was Cairo.
Yeah.
Shortstop is Jeter. Third A-Rod.
Well, hold on. Cairo didn't start.
Cairo has the biggest hit in this game. Who played second tonight? Enrique?
Yeah, Enrique Wilson.
And then you had Ruben Sierra playing one of the outfield positions.
Ruben Sierra pinch hit for Enrique Wilson.
You had Bernie playing one of the outfield positions.
No.
Who was playing the outfield?
He DH'd this game, so Kenny Lofton was playing center field.
Oh, that was a weird Kenny Lofton year.
Gary Sheffield played right, and then I think it said he moved to third. And then
he did play third when he was younger.
And then he moved to third, because this all got fucked up when Jeter had to leave. And then Matsui was in left. I'm
not disappointed in myself there, to be honest.
That was fun.
The fact that I got Tony Clark, I'm pretty happy with.
That was fun. I'm sure no one gave a shit about those 3 minutes, but that was
sounds like my sex life.
But that was fun. Okay, yeah. Let's move on, because Wiz listens to this one. All right, bye, Cass.
No, I'm still here. I can hear you. Everyone on the podcast app doesn't know I left until you do that.
Well, they know when they can't hear you anymore.
I was yelling. They would have heard me. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so that's the 1 through 3. So number 4 is Jeter's 3,000th hit. He went 5 for 5 against the Rays. 3,000th hit was a home run off David Price in the third inning to left field. You know who was playing left field for the Rays that day, Cass?
Matt Joyce?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, I mean, it's just a moment. Like, it was just a regular season game on July 9th. He went 5 for 5, which is pretty cool. 3,000th hit as a home run is pretty cool. Not a lot of people have done that. I think I don't want to say he's the only one, is he?
No, one of three. What's funny is Boggs did it before him, and then you should be able to guess who is number 3. Who always wanted to be like Jeter?
Well, you just said Yogi Berra.
No, Boggs. Boggs did it first. Did I say Yogi Berra? No.
I thought you were about to say Yogi Berra. I was like, what?
No, Boggs did it first, but who followed Jeter and who always wanted to be like Jeter?
Probably A-Rod or Tua. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, a lot of people wanted to be like Jeter. Like, I don't know. That was a pretty
Who wanted to be
clip.
like Jeter so much it derailed their career?
Oh, man. And then he was going to buy the Mets, but backed out. So that's fun.
A-Rod hit one off Verlander.
Yeah. Did you see that A-Rod backed out of buying the Mets?
I did see that. I mean, it doesn't surprise me because the Mets are dysfunctional and A-Rod's dysfunctional, so it never is going to make sense.
No, the problem is the Mets don't want to give up SNY.
Is A-Rod going to make him give it up?
That's the big thing. Like, the Mets, the SNY, like, is – I don't want to say it's a bigger value than the Mets, but it's a significant part of the value.
But what's A-Rod going to broadcast them on? His, like, J-Lo's Instagram Live? Like, what are we doing?
No, but I think, like, I don't want to speak too much about it because I'm not, like, 100% sure, but, like,
that's okay.
I think Jeter – I think, like, you could buy the Mets, but, like, the Wilpons or whoever still owns SNY or – I don't know. I'm sure Pat will listen and yell at me about it, but
you just said that we could buy the Mets, and I really love that because like, now gives me hope. Me and you.
We could try.
On that teacher and accountant salary, could probably buy that.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the bench show gets a lot of support. We give a lot of it to No Kid Hungry, but we could use the rest to buy the Mets.
That's what I'm saying. Like kids, just figure out how to eat, and we'll do the rest. We'll buy the Mets.
We'll be there in like maybe 90 or 100 years, like we'll get there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I'm waiting. And that's what I'm waiting on. I've always been a waiting person, so that's.
So you can
go on about Jeter. Go for Jeter 3,000.
I think you could tell by the conversation that I don't really care about this moment. I mean, it's cool because I mean, for a lot of people, like 3,000 hits, locks up the Hall of Fame. But like, you don't have to. Yeah. Jeter didn't have to do this to get in the Hall of Fame, so it just kind of loses its value a little bit to me, like in terms of like what I want to watch the game again.
Agreed. And the coolest moment to me, all things aside, this is in 2011 or 12.
11,
right? I wasn't actually home, so I missed this game. The coolest thing for me was Jeter went 5 for 5, and he hit a single in the 8th inning that gave them like the lead or like solidified the lead or whatever. And therefore like the 5 for 5 becomes even cooler because like, and that like kind of went to the Jeter mystique because he hit like a single to tie the game or give them the lead or whatever. So he like was just being quintessential Jeter. He was giving them the lead or whatever. That home run is really cool. We all knew that Derek Jeter would hit 3,000 hits eventually.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, and like I don't think this is popular. My thing with milestones that are like going to happen no matter what, and I don't know what that word is. I don't fucking
inevitable.
Care. I don't fucking inevitable milestones. I don't fucking care. Like you're Derek Jeter and you have 2,999 hits in April. You're not gonna fucking retire. Like it's not like I'm gonna call it a career and you're gonna go for your next 250. You're gonna get it. So like whether it's a dribbler or not. Like, the Jeter being a home run, I think just once again speaks to, like, who he is as a human being. Like, he was never going to do anything, like, halfway. A side note, Jeter's first hit is an infield single. Regardless, but, and Jeter's last hit is an infield single. Regardless, you're not going to, it doesn't really blow me away. You're going to get that 3,000 hit no matter what, where I think, like, Bond's 73rd homer is really fucking cool because, like, there were times Roger Maris's 61st time was ticking against you. Jeter was going to get it no matter what. He could have went up with a bare hand and probably figured it out, regardless. So I'm not saying that this moment is wrong, and it's obviously a moment in Jeter's history. I'm not sitting here aghast, or agaped. I don't fucking know what words are, to be honest with you.
I don't know, man. You're struggling though.
The fact that they allow. Yeah.
Maybe you should stop drinking beers while you do this.
I think that the audience would like me to drink more. But you know my point. The fact that it was an inevitable milestone, I don't find it.
Yeah.
It's not too impressive to me because it's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's just on this list because not a lot of players have 3,000 hits.
Agreed.
So has to be on it, and it's cool that it's a home run. The last moment on this list that we could vote for is Jeter's Bronx farewell. If I watch this game again, I will definitely cry. So,
with you.
So, yeah. I mean, I remember where I was when this happened.
Agreed.
I remember what I was doing, what I was drinking. I even remember what I was wearing, to be honest. And, this moment was incredibly sad. It's probably, the saddest sports moment I had because, it was the end of someone that, I looked up to for his whole career. And just, the athlete of our generation. He's arguably that, whether you want to put Kobe above him or whatever, or maybe.
No, I agree.
But, he was the man. He was the man for my entire life up until this point.
So, I don't want to, of course, and this is how we got to the last pod, I don't want to romanticize baseball, but, the cool thing about Derek Jeter is, we're both born in 93, or you're born in 92, I'm born in 93.
I was born in 93, buddy.
Wow, your birthday's in 93? Wow, we should talk about that off the air.
Literally.
But Jeter gets drafted in 93. He becomes a pro in 95. 96 is when he wins Rookie of the Year. He plays till 14. And you graduated college in 14. I graduated college in 15. So it was Derek Jeter's career trajectory followed, that's going to not be romantic, but, it followed, growing up. When we were 10 to 12, Jeter was in the prime of his career. When we were 13 to 15, he was, going towards, different stages. It was just really cool to see Jeter go from, being a nobody to, whatever he was to, then by the time we were graduating college, he was done. This moment, and I'm with you, I would cry if I see this moment.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes it weird for me is my dad.
Yes.
He had 10-game pack to the Red Sox. I went to Derek Jeter's last game.
I remember
that. If you told 95% of people I went to Derek Jeter's last game, they would think it's this game we're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's so funny to me how people just choose to remember how they want to remember it.
Yeah, and hey, listen, I'm in agreement on that. I just happen to be at the other one, but this is one of the coolest moments in history. Life just set itself up. Antoine Richardson is playing second. Some of the coolest things happened in that game, and nobody talks about it. What's his face gets walked. Then Brett Gardner in the 9th inning sack bunts the guy to second base, and it's that would never happen in an MLB game.
No, and it's only 6 years ago.
Yeah, and then I don't even know if it's so much a sign of the times or some sign of we just wanted to give Jeter the chance. And then he inside outs the pitch to right field, and Richardson beats it by a second if the guy doesn't bobble it. It's a close play. It's one of the cooler moments. It's one of those moments you're hey, this is how it should end, but there's no chance it ends this way. It's like Jordan in 98. It's there's no chance he hits a shot over Byron Russell. And it's oh, no, he's going to because it's a different brand of human being.
Yeah, and I think even if the outfielder didn't bobble the ball and it was a closer play at home, there was zero chance the ump was calling him out because you're just not doing it. You're not doing it. And like you said, we basically grew up with Jeter. He was drafted the year we were born. And then 2014, this is 7 days after my 21st birthday. So this is my, I don't even know, third or fourth time, at a bar legally. So
Legally. Let's make it
legally,
sure we're a legal pod. So like, let's make that clear.
legally, I theoretically went before I was 21, but legally this was like
Theoretically.
third or fourth time, and now it's like my favorite bar around like my hometown. So it's just it's one of the most emotional games on this list for sure. It's probably the emotional game on this list.
Agreed.
But there is one game on here that
lights my fire.
Listen, I get it that Jeter had a very illustrious career. He's had a lot of classic moments. But there is zero fucking reason why the flip should not be on this list. And I know you agree, and I know you want to rant about it because you texted me yesterday before you start. I texted Cass like, you want to do this, and you haven't seen the list yet at that point. So you were just like texting like, okay, well it's this game, the flip, this game. I'm like, no, the flip's not there, and you were like, what?
So like, let's call. And I was gonna say that story. Like, if as a lifelong Yankee fan, like if I'm gonna call it the most important games of Derek Jeter's career, the flip is obviously up there.
Yeah.
I love the dive. The dive is one of the coolest moments of Derek Jeter's career. Let's talk about the flip, though. If you're going to say that the flip doesn't belong in there, not you, Scott, because I would never come at you. If you're going to say that the flip doesn't belong up there, you're a fucking joke. Because let's be honest here. The flip is 2001. 9/11 has happened now a month ago. So now we're already bringing all this, like, World Series stuff, and we're now throwing a month earlier. So, like, we're talking about a month ago. The Yankees are tied 0-0. You've seen us dealing. Terrence Long hits a ball down the line. Spencer throws the ball in, and there is no chance that anybody should be there. And Jeter flips the ball in. But, like, let's be honest. Even in 96, if Jeter doesn't hit that home run, is there still a chance the Yankees win the fucking ALCS? Yes. Is there a chance if the Yankees go down 1-0 in that game that they win the ALCS or ALDS in 2001? ALDS.
Yes.
Do they still have a chance to win their series? No, because they're down 1-0 while down 2-0 in that series. Like, people don't understand that the Yankees were on the precipice of defeat. They were going against something they have not seen ever. And the thing is, they were not only down 2-0 and coming back to the stadium, they were playing in the Coliseum for the next 2 games.
Yeah.
So they had to win game 3 and 4 at the Coliseum and then win game 5 at the stadium. To say that the flip is the most consequential play in the dynasty, it kept the dynasty alive another month longer. And if anybody's going to say that moment isn't to me, that's the second best moment of Jeter's career. And for it not to be listed in the top 5 for ESPN, but I mean, ESPN means nothing to me at this point. Yeah. I just think that's an absolute joke. It makes, Jeter, what we have to say is like all about winning, right? Like whether or not like we agree with everything he's done, like we have to both agree that he was a winner, right?
Absolutely.
So what would Jeter rank as his best moments? I bet Jeter doesn't even have his 3,000th hit as his best moment because he would be ranking the games where he won playoff games and World Series for the team. That moment is one of and he has no business being there, and that's what nobody understands.
Honestly,
no business being there.
I mean, to answer your question, I mean, Jeter won 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his 5 clinching games would be his top 5 moments of his career.
Absolutely. He would say, even if he went 0-4 in all of them, he would say that.
Yep, because he won. But yeah, I mean, it belongs on this list. Which one are you taking off for the flip play?
So we both agree that we had different qualifiers. I thought the biggest moment for the Yankees is going to be my favorite. Like that's going to be it. So I'm not taking the Mayer homer off. I'm probably taking the dive off.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking off too.
Which is like if you're showing Jeter's career highlights, you have to show the dive.
Yes.
But if you're talking about the moments that mean the most to Yankees and Jeter, I mean, there's not a team in the world that the flip is in there. So.
Yeah, I'm also taking off the dive, but
you don't like a Jeffrey Mayer homer.
It's not that I don't like it. I mean, you swung me a little on it.
You're an anti-Jeffrey Mayer guy. You've always been.
My thing with my thing I said with Pat yesterday was I don't like that it's a Jeter moment, but it's referred to as like someone else's.
Agreed.
So,
You're right.
and I
You
think
could
just
talk
from a
about that.
Jeter perspective, if you're looking at it, I think that would probably be the game you take off to put the flip play in.
You could talk about that Jeffrey Miller game and never mention Derek Jeter. You're right. You're right, Knight. And that
like
moment is not special to Derek Jeter.
That game is on a Yankee DVD for the Dynasty, but it's not necessarily going to be on Jeter's like Hall of Fame highlights at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Because what did Derek Jeter do well there? He had a fly ball 312 feet. Like, yeah, you're too short, bud. Like, I love you more than yourself. I named my dog after you, but like, you hit it a little short. I agree with what you're saying, and I think if we're talking about a Derek Jeter highlight reel, I don't think that Jeffrey Merritt homer gets there by proxy. Like, it just is. You happen to be the guy who hit the homer in one of the coolest things of all time.
Yeah, I think it gets there because it started everything.
Yes.
Like, it starts his whole legend, essentially.
And it's in his rookie of the year. Like, it's one of those moments that like you wouldn't have had it, you know.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're splitting hairs here, obviously, because they all are like very good moments. But I agree that like I'm definitely taking the dive out because to me, like, it's a defensive play, so I got to take out a defensive play to replace it.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, like hit number 3,000 is probably the second one that I would take out for. What up, Jeet?
By the way, I named my dog Jeter, so I was the perfect person to have on this podcast.
Yeah, but you also thought your dog was a guy when you.
Okay, well, I didn't know we were airing dirty laundry today, Scott.
Yeah. What was it, like 3 months until you realized Jeter was a
3 or 4 months? But that's a different pod for a different time. Yeah. That's Scott and Tyler radio.
I don't know. John Boy and Jake radio may get jealous.
If we could just split 50-50, the guess.
I think we could hold our own with John Boy and Jake. We wouldn't have the tech that they do, but we could hold our own in terms of like humor.
Completely agree. Our humor is beyond that.
Jeter's better than Noodle, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Say it.
Jeter's better than Noodle. Come at me, Jake.
Noodle would kill Jeter. I just want to make that clear.
That's so funny. Well, what was your topic that you thought we were going to go off the rails with?
I don't think we're going to off. No, I said it wouldn't go off the rails. So this would be a great conversation if like me and you were next to each other.
We basically are.
What? So I've been like doing this Hall of Fame thing, right?
Oh boy, I don't like where this is going.
Do you? And I need your opinion, and then I'll voice my opinion. You already know. I think you already know my opinion.
Okay.
Do steroid guys belong in the Hall of Fame?
Wait, I didn't hear that.
Do steroid guys belong in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
You're just gonna throw and threat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, not all of them, but like, I don't think. No, so that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean, they shouldn't be excluded from it just because they use steroids.
So who doesn't? Okay, so you're saying like, yeah, obviously.
Like, if you can, if the writers or whoever can give me. Like, I can't do this off my head. Like, I'm not that good.
No,
I'm not that good.
I'm not putting on the spot.
Like, if the writers or, like, a fan can give me, like, actual reasons, like, other than steroids as to why, like, say, this is a terrible example. Say, like, Barry Bonds. Say, like, if you can give me a legitimate reason besides steroids that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, like, we're cool. I'll respect your opinion. But if you just say, well, he used steroids, everyone fucking used steroids back then. So it doesn't matter.
So so here's my question again for the viewers. Is Scott Castellano so like Rafael Palmeiro is one of my favorite examples. So Tim and I have been talking about, our friend Tim, I've been talking about it a lot. Palmeiro has 3,000 hits and 500 homers, but he became a great hitter after 36. Would you say that like, he clearly steroids were like the reason he did it? Or do you like say like something like Bonds and Clemens and like, they're Hall of Famers before they took steroids. Like, where do you fall?
I mean, in terms of Palmeiro?
Well, no, I'm more asking, like, are you saying like if you took steroids, like I'm just gonna judge your stats as your stats? Or are you saying like if you fucking took steroids, like I'm gonna look to see if you're like Barry Bonds, where you're a first ballot Hall of Famer before, and you're like regardless, you know what I'm saying?
I think when it comes to like these players who either like definitely use steroids or are accused of taking steroids, like it makes it harder because you can't just look at the numbers. So like,
Agreed.
I think like if you go off the eye test and you say to yourself like, no, like he's really fucking good. I don't care what he was on. Like he's really good. Like to me, like
Agreed.
he's a 3-time Gold Glover, and like
I don't know
steroids.
Palmero.
Yeah, Palmero's a 3-time Gold Glover, 2-time Silver Slugger, which isn't even that impressive if he was using steroids, to be honest. But like,
Get more.
I don't know if he was using the right ones, you know. But no, I don't know. It's a tricky topic. Like to me, when I was in high school or middle school, I actually did like a report on this. Like, and my stance, my whole thesis was just because you have big muscles doesn't mean you're gonna hit the ball.
Agreed.
And I think like I don't know. To me, like that's what I always go back to. Like I don't think you can tell the story of baseball without the steroid era, and the Hall of Fame is filled with people that don't belong there anyway. It's a museum for fans.
Believe me, I'm getting into this with my my Hall of Famers.
It's like, you know, I understand like the borderline people. If you look at them and you're like, you know, he's probably only above this player because of the alleged steroid use, then like, yeah, he probably shouldn't go in. But like, if you can make a case like just off the eye test and like, I don't know, like just off, I don't know, I don't. For guys who it's like a no doubter regardless of steroids is my bigger issue. When it's like the borderline players, it's obviously a lot harder.
Here's my my thing now. So I've been going off like OPS plus is like my main thing because that like juxtaposed twice in a pod though, by the way.
I don't know if you used it right either time, so let's not get too excited.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna let Mrs. Castellan decide if I use either one correctly.
I don't think she'll know either.
Mom, just text me right now and just let me know. Anyway, but OPS plus juxtaposes your stats versus anyone else's stats in your time period. So like for me, so Carlos Delgado has been my biggest like thing. Like we have no suspicions about Carlos Delgado, but his OPS plus is lower because it's like ranked against Barry Bonds in that year. And it's like, are we gonna blame Delgado because he isn't assumed to have taken steroids, or are we not? Like, I don't know. If he has the whole switch out of the Hall of Fame of who's in and who's not, I've just decided that like all players are involved. Because I know some people heard this, I'm doing my own little Hall of Fame of like who's in and who's not. It's just I was just interested in your opinion because I honestly thought you'd be different. I thought you'd be anti-steroids.
No. I'm not anti because like I am just very well convinced that it wasn't like, you know, 4 or 5 guys taking steroids and no one else doing it. Like even like players who retired since then, like especially pitchers have been like, yeah, all the hitters were doing it. Hitters on our team were doing it. It was just like the way of the game. So I'm not gonna penalize someone for that because in the same breath, if you're penalizing all the guys who didn't use steroids, like you might as well put in a Hall of Famer who has no business being there because he didn't use steroids. You know, like you might as well put Miguel Cairo in the Hall of Fame.
Hey! He hit that big double.
You know, like that's just where I land, and I just feel like I don't know enough about steroids, like the sciences of it and everything, to understand how it like affects pitchers.
Agreed.
Because I think like pitchers have definitely used steroids, and I feel like we're only really focusing on like Roger Clemens in that, and I guess Andy Pettitte when he used HGH, but like you're just penalizing all the hitters, which is fine, but you're not like taking into account like I'm sure there are pitchers that you just let in because you didn't think they like steroids would help them.
Until we know that like Barry Bonds instead of hitting 770 homers would have hit 520 without steroids. I need to know, and I don't think we'll ever get this because like medicine is weird because like obviously me and you are never gonna understand medicine. But like until we understand, which we won't, what steroids contribute like directly, like what they're doing statistically. I don't know if you can keep players out of the Hall of Fame. Like, okay, fine. Without steroids, Barry Bonds would have hit 752 homers. Like, he would have lost 13 homers without steroids. So you're telling me the homers that Barry Bonds hit in McCovey Cove would have still been homers, but they wouldn't have been as far. But, like, the homers hit in the first row would have now not been homers. Like, I need to see what, like, and I don't think we'll ever get that answer. And, like, unfortunately, that's what steroid guys rob from us. Like, if they played it clean all the way through.
What bothers me is that I feel like all the writers who vote for this, like, they have the same exact knowledge that we do about steroids. Like, we don't know the science, and I'm pretty convinced the writers don't know the science either. So, like, if you don't know the science, like, how are you judging it? Like, how are you judging these players? Because, like, you're right. Most people, when they think steroids, just think you're going to hit the ball a lot further. And, like, you're going to hit it harder, so you may get more base hits, but, like, they don't care if you took steroids and hit like 300. They care if you took steroids and hit like 45 bombs.
Yeah.
So it's just so weird to me, honestly. I don't like Barry Bonds.
What it's gonna. So
Barry Bonds took steroids. I just want to finish this one point. Barry Bonds took steroids, and because of his swing pass and his launch angle, it turned into home runs. But, like, if Derek Jeter took those same steroids, because of his swing, it wasn't going to turn into home runs. It'd be probably a lot more doubles, probably like a hard line drives, hard ground balls through the middle. Yeah. But it's so much, like, steroids is like does probably help, but there's so much more that goes into all of these stats that, like, now, especially like with all these advanced metrics like showing up, like, to me the advanced metrics can take away like the steroid inflation.
Yeah. I think what boggles my mind the most is how we take steroids in effect for other people and be like, oh, that's the only reason you're good. But, like, David Ortiz failed the drug test. So, like, let's not pretend he didn't. Like, he failed the drug test. Like, listen, this is going to come across as, like, sorry, everyone. This is going to come across as me anti-Red Sox, which, I mean, I am. I mean, but, like, in the same breath, like, he failed the drug test. Like, let's not pretend like this doesn't matter. So, like, Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge Rodriguez, the catcher, like, suspicions of steroids. But we're just going to pretend that doesn't matter because it doesn't fit our narrative because Pudge didn't hit 500 homers. I think the first guy that's going to make it in the Hall of Fame with steroids is A-Rod. I think it's a joke because Barry Bonds is probably the greatest player that's ever lived.
Definitely up there.
You know, I think it's a joke because A-Rod and Bond, we don't know what the difference is between, like, who is doing what and who is doing what. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Who is doing what and what situations, and, you know, we're never going to get an answer on that. I was just curious to what your opinion was because my friend, Randy, who you know, from our fantasy league, was asking who the best 5 players alive were, which could be a great segment, by the way.
What, like, alive and well, or like?
No, alive, just alive in general. I don't care if they're well. I don't fucking care if Willie Mays on a ventilator.
Well, we should. I mean, we should definitely care about that.
Yeah, sure, I care. But no, but like he wanted to know who the 5 best living players were of all time. And so we were talking about it, and I said I thought Bonds and Clemens were up there, and he said no because he considered them steroid guys, and then we got into it. Like, in a fun. I love Randy.
I feel like see, it's weird because, like, for Randy to use that as like a reason not to put someone on a list like that, I'm like a little more okay with.
For Randy visiting?
Yeah, than him saying they don't belong in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he said you need – yeah, you're right. He did say you need to be in the Hall of Fame to be on this list, which kind of excluded some people. But, like, in the same breath, like, in my opinion, the greatest – like, Barry Bonds to me is the greatest baseball player of all time. Like, I've looked at, like, his OBP some years were, like, he would have been the best player in baseball if he didn't bring a bat to the batting circle one year. Like, that's insane. Like, he would have had a 450 OBP if he didn't bring a bat into the batting circle. Like, that's
crazy.
Stupid. Like, that's stupid. Like, I mean, it's great, but it's stupid. Like, it's stupid fun. Like, so, therefore, I find if you're not willing to put Barry Bonds and Bonds, McGuire,
I feel like Bonds is the biggest one.
Bonds and A-Rod, I think, are
Yeah.
1-2.
Because, like, Sosa, I don't give a fuck about, honestly. And Mark McGwire,
Sosa's a
I'm
weird
not
one
very
because he wasn't good. Sosa was like an average player every year until he took steroids, allegedly, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I was curious of your opinion because, I mean, this is going to be more of an issue the more that you have the A-Rod or Bonds or Sosa or Clemens. Like, the more that, like, when Bonds and Sosa or Bonds and Clemens on their last year, you're going to have a shit show.
Well, I mean, we're gonna find out soon because isn't Ortiz eligible next year?
Ortiz retired after 16. Yeah, that would be right.
And I mean, a lot of people think
He
he'll
makes
get
the
in first ballot.
I'm burning the Hall of Fame down.
I
didn't mean
honestly.
It's just so many runs that you probably will in
What?
first ballot. So he probably will get in first ballot.
If he gets in first ballot, it's a joke.
So
you're breaking up, but I can kind of hear what you're saying.
It's politics, so like he's gonna get in.
Well, I mean that's a joke. So like, as I make my own Hall of Fame, like which nobody cares about, but as I make my Hall of Fame, it's just so clear that like it's a lot of politics. Like as much as I like respect Harold Baines as like probably a human being, like the guy was like a 250 career hitter, like and all this stuff. And it's like it's just how you come across in almost every like facet of life in the game, and blah 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 blah. Like there are people who should never have been left out of the Hall of Fame that are like well below people who are like, you know, first ballot Hall of Famers. It's just really interesting.
I agree.
So, but I'm glad to have your opinion on steroid guys. I thought you would be a little bit different, but
no, I'm a big steroid guy. If you couldn't tell.
Well, that's what I've always said. You stunted your own growth.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And I still sucked at baseball. So there you go. Tell that to the writers.
When you hit it, they stay hit. So you know, it was just the hitting us.
Yeah, the hitting was not good. I could field fine, and I used to be able to run, so that was good.
That's what I'm saying. Steroids contributed to that, and you know.
Yeah, I had pretty good. I had like a temper problem when I played, so maybe I did take steroids and I didn't know about it. Honestly,
when you played, or you still have a temper problem? I'm just confused. I just want the pod fans at home to understand what's going on.
No, like, I'm pretty low key now compared to then. You know, like I don't know.
Who's watching on YouTube right now?
I mean, like my parents, I know, like would hate coming to my games. Like that's how bad I was. So,
Mrs. Castellano and Walt.
They'll tell you.
Can you verify that this kid has calmed down? Because I don't believe it.
I have.
That's scary. That's scary. Oh, I believe you're mature. You are a very mature human being. I just don't know if you've calmed down. Because I'm pretty sure you would still strangle someone's neck if they cut you off in karaoke.
Karaoke? No. They could have it.
I've watched you do karaoke. You get into it.
Where? Like
Karaoke Heroes? Justin Bieber.
Because we're like plastered by the time we get there.
Oh, okay. We had one beer. Who cares? You know?
Not one beer. Get the fuck out of here.
Me, you, Justin Bieber. Like, what's going on?
Oh, I do remember that night, actually. I did cut someone off for that.
I see. That's what I'm saying. You cut their hamstrings, I think.
Yeah, and then someone in our friend group tried to cut me off, and I was mad at them for the rest of the night. And I said something I shouldn't have said, and I said it a little too loud, and I think the person may have heard me, and it's never been the same since. But anyway, that's a way to end it right there. Cass, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. This is a lot of fun. I hope people love this one as much as they love the first one, because you were back by popular demand. I was not just saying that. So
I appreciate it. It's always not to be sentimental, so it was a good time to talk to one of my best friends and drink some beers and
White Claws.
Well,
and coffee, and I got 3 drinks here. I've been like all.
Yeah, I know. I've just seen you like you've mixed up more times than like Magic Johnson in the 70s. Like you're like coffee, water, beer, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but like I'm glad you like it.
One of these cups has my steroid dosage in it, so
Perfect.
I gotta try to balance it out.
Joan just mixed it in, and she didn't tell you which one of the three, and just let it go.
No, I can make my own coffee. Food she does that with, but I can make my own coffee.
Best baked ziti in Long Island.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So that's gonna wrap this up. Everyone, please follow us on Instagram at _end of the bench, Twitter at the EOTB. You could hit the support link in all the podcast descriptions. 50% of your monthly support goes to No Kid Hungry to help provide meals for kids less fortunate. It's very important to do that, especially now with coronavirus. Cass, thank you again for coming on, and you will definitely be back soon.
Of course, sir. It was always a pleasure talking a little sports with you.
All right, I'll see you later.
Got you.